channel, and I just thought to share with you some things. So as you may have seen on my channel that I had posted some videos relating to Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. This year it was the second time I visited the region in Central Asia, and let me tell you that this is in Almaty, but this time I didn't visit Almaty, just Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan and Astana in Kazakhstan. So Almaty I haven't visited this time. And last autumn I had been to Almaty, and the thing I need to share with you is that I was sick during my trip, and didn't have the chance to go outside of the city much. Like, I'm into the surrounding mountains. I didn't have the chance to visit those, but it would have been very amazing if I had the chance to visit, but I was sick and I couldn't visit. So only within Almaty I had visited an Orthodox church, and I had posted a video about that many months ago. And also in Almaty I visited, how it's pronounced, Köktepe. Well, I try to pronounce it in a Turkish way because I don't exactly know how to pronounce it in the Kazakh way. So visited Köktepe, which is in Almaty, and the cable car takes you up, and it's very nice, and I enjoyed the view from the hilltop, because the view was towards the city and also the surrounding mountains. So I really enjoyed that view. I found it very beautiful. Atabula Prekrasna, it was very nice. Atabula Prekrasna with Goroda и Gori, the view of the city and the mountains with Goroda и Gori. I wish I could speak better, Russian, but my Russian is so poor. Я не говорю хорошо по-русски, извините. Я стараюсь говорить по-русски, если у меня возможность, но здесь, в Турции, у меня нет возможности практиковать русский язык. У меня нет возможности, это для меня очень трудно. So what I have just said is that in Turkey I don't have a chance to practice Russian. My Russian is very poor. I don't speak Russian well at all. But what I wanted to say is that I wish I could speak the language. So I was talking about Almaty, that the city has mountains outside of it, very beautiful view of mountains. I recommend you to visit it if you have a chance. And now I'm going to talk about Astana. So Astana is the new capital of Kazakhstan. I think since 1998 it's the new capital, so for about 25 years. So, and there are plenty of construction work underway in Astana. So quite a few places I had visited could see construction underway, and that city is obviously new. There's a modern part of it, and obviously I recommend you to visit Baytarak Tower. Posted the video it on my channel, you can see it. And what I was going to say, the thing that surprised me, that the city didn't have metro, so the traffic was quite busy, many cars on the roads and many buses, because the only way of transportation for now is just, by car or by bus. So the traffic was quite busy. It reminded me of Istanbul. And there is some construction underway for a train in Astana, or a tram. I don't know, like tramway or train. Поезд или трамвай, не знаю. But there is a construction underway in Astana for a tram line or a train line within the city, within Astana. So actually, last November I saw that construction, and still, I mean, earlier this summer, actually this month in August, when I went to Astana, also could see the construction hasn't been completed, so it's still underway for the tram or the train line. I don't know which one it is, but it's above the ground, it's not underground, which is surprising me. So I don't know why they don't do underground metro. Like, I'm surprised, but anyway. So by Terak Tower you can visit, and also some museums. Obviously the National Museum of Kazakhstan you must visit, and also there's a pyramid shaped building which is called the Palace of Reconciliation and Peace, or maybe it's the opposite way. Anyway, so I don't know, was there some noise? Maybe I'm just, I thought some noise from outside. So anyway, so Palace of Peace and Reconciliation you can also visit. And there was a Kazakh lady I had met in the museum of, this Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. And when I said to her that I was from Hungary, yeah, it's Vengri, and she was, well, first of all, surprised, but also she mentioned that, the distant connection of Kazakh people and Hungarians. But I couldn't talk to her much because the tour guide who would, guide us through the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation, she arrived not long after I had started talking to this lady, and she mentioned she was an intellectual. She was from an intellectual family, and yeah, I would have been curious to talk to her about things, but didn't have a chance. And I haven't received a message from her. Like, I put Turkish SIM card back into my phone, and I haven't received any message from her. I gave my Turkish number to her, but I don't know, did she forget to message me? I don't know. So this Kazakh lady was telling me that, the in the distant past, the connection, like, of Kazakh people and Hungarians, because I mean, in the distant past, Hungarian tribes and other tribes were passing through Kazakhstan towards, migrating towards Europe, and so there is some relative, nation, brother nation, distantly Kazakhstan. But I don't know Kazakh language to, like, I can't tell similarity. I mean, let me think. Only one word comes to my mind that is, similar. Like the word for tent in English, tent, in Kazakh language, shatır, if my pronunciation is accurate or not, I don't know. Shatır. And the word for tent in Hungarian is sátor. So in Hungarian, sátor, and in Kazakh language, shatır. Shatır. means tent in English. So you see, you can hear the similarity of just this word. I don't know any other word that is similar between Kazakh or Hungarian. I have no idea, but this is what I can share with you. And only one word in Kazakh language I figured out by myself because no local was telling me anything. Jana means new. In Turkish, yeni. Yeni means new. Actually, I haven't managed to make a video with a local in Kazakhstan. I wish I could have done it because in Kyrgyzstan, in Bishkek, I could make a video with a young lady and well, actually, how old she was? Well, young girl, sorry. And she yeah, young girl, and she was friendly. So despite my Russian was very poor, I uploaded that video and test your Russian. So if you want to check it out, well, you can, but I will remind you that my Russian is very poor. So what I wanted to say, these were like some highlights. So I wanted to make a video in Kazakhstan with a local to speak in Russian about, topics or something like how they feel and about languages in general I wanted to talk about, but I haven't found anyone who wanted to talk to me in Astana. The only lady, besides the lady in the museum, the only other lady who talked to me in Kazakhstan, like on the street, I mean, um, was a tourist from Almaty, a local tourist who visited Astana for a day. And she was trying to say that her English was not good, but I thought she was fine. So her English was fine, but she was just maybe shy. But I couldn't make a video with her, and also no picture with her. So, um, and the only friendly lady in Kazakhstan we had met, a lady at the Turkish restaurant. Excuse me. A lady at the Turkish restaurant, a Kazakh lady who was kind to us. But apart from that, nobody else cared. And actually, most of the time, it was not me that people paid attention to, but Turkish, I mean Turkish people. So it's Hungary. They don't really know much about it. I mean, so Turkey is, closer to them. So anyway, that was about Kazakhstan, and now about Kyrgyzstan. So you will be able to find on my channel brief videos from Kyrgyzstan. One from the Ala-Archa National Park, which is outside of Bishkek, maybe 40 kilometers from Bishkek. And if you have a chance to visit Kyrgyzstan, you must go there. The national park is nice. And what was nice about it is that the temperatures were cool up in the national park near the mountain area, mountainous area. The weather was much cooler. Actually, I mean, in the city in Bishkek, it was 40 Celsius degrees, very, very hot, dry weather. At least it was dry weather. Huge difference, because in Istanbul, it is awful humid weather. I can't tell you how much it sucks to, sweat all day long, because, I mean, I just can't tell you how much I hate the weather in Istanbul, but there's no air conditioning here, so there's no air conditioning, and let me tell you, it's humid, sticky hot. Anyway, so returning to Ala-Archa National Park in Kyrgyzstan, I think the word in Kyrgyz language Ala-Archa means like mixed trees. I think archa means trees. In Turkish, tree means ağaç. So there's a yumuşak G in it. So ağaç means tree. So in the national park in Kyrgyzstan, there are different trees. For example, pine trees, and yeah, it was very beautiful. And what was good about it that the temperature was much cooler in the national park, close to the mountains, and the national park was 2,200 meters above sea level, so the weather was so much better there. Let me tell you, I miss that place so much, so much. I can't tell you how much I don't want to be in Istanbul. Okay, so the other thing, well, so the national park, so but you have to be careful because if you take a cheap taxi by Yandex to the national park on the way there, and you have to pay obviously the entrance fee to the national park, maybe 700 som, same som, so 700 som, and I don't know how much that in dollars, sorry, I don't know, but so anyway, so you have to pay the entrance fee plus the taxi ride, but the taxi is cheap in Kyrgyzstan, but cheaper in Kazakhstan. So anyway, but you have to be careful on the way back if you want to go back to the city. But the taxi doesn't come to the national park. So you have to find, actually it was really hard for us to find a way out of the national park back to the city. We were begging to a local who was, with, actually he took a lady from Russia around, sightseeing, and actually first we didn't even know that the lady was sitting in the car, but the local, I tried to mention in Russian, здравствуйте, нам нужен помочь, хочу вернуться в город, for Bishkek. We want to return to Bishkek. And the local guy, was polite and let us sit in the car. And when I got on the car, I saw a lady, and at first I thought she was German, but then I realized that she was from Russia. But I don't know which part of Russia anyway, sorry. Anyway, so and the local driver took us out of the national park and stopped at a place, and he called his friend to pick us up. So his friend picked us up from outside of the national park and took us back to Bishkek, and we paid for the ride. So in Kyrgyzstan, we visited Issykul, or how it's pronounced, Issykul Lake. It's the biggest lake in Kyrgyzstan. Issykul, biggest lake in Kyrgyzstan. And yeah, it was a 300-kilometer ride from Bishkek to visit the lake. It was a very exhausting journey because we went in the morning and got there towards the midday or something to the lake, and then returned on the same day in the evening. So it was like a 12-hour, 13-hour, like in total the time we had spent like at the lake, and also going there and going back. 300 kilometer there and 300 kilometer back. So yeah, it was a really exhausting day. But I liked the lake, except the driver didn't take us to the nicer part of the lake because the water was kind of blurry. You can see it in my video that actually I have a viewer who had commented under the video that the water of the lake wasn't so clear. And normally Usyk Lake in Kyrgyzstan has to have nice water because it is a mountain lake. It's 1,500 meters above sea level, okay? So if you have a chance to visit that, please visit. So but I because it was also cooler there in Usyk Lake. So for quite some time I didn't even feel the sun hitting me because the weather was cooler. It was windy. But when I started to feel, oh, my legs are starting to hurt, my face is starting to hurt because of the sun, actually the temperature was cooler, obviously, than 300 kilometers away in Bishkek. It was 40 Celsius degrees or 38 degrees Celsius degrees. But by the lake, the temperature was like it was like 23 degrees. So you didn't feel the heat by the lake, but the sun was still hitting, and I didn't even realize it because it's a high altitude. I mean, 1,500 meters above sea level. So would need to be careful, but yeah, I wasn't careful. So I got sunburn. So yeah, I got sunburn. Unfortunately, that's the case. I got sunburn. And what else? In Kyrgyzstan, actually, we visited, I mean, outside of Bishkek, these two places, Usyk Lake, and this Ala Archa National Park. And within Bishkek, obviously, we went to the main square, Alatu Ploshad, Alatu Square. So we had, yeah. But unfortunately, the time went by very fast. Время летел, и вот еще раз в Istanbul, again in Istanbul. Unfortunately, why do I say that? Because it's very sweltering hot and humid in Istanbul. And there's no air conditioning here in this small flat. It's a rented flat. And let me tell you, it's just awful, the temperature. If I go outside, actually this morning I went to the post office to pick a letter up because actually I received a residence permit, and I wasn't here at the time when it was delivered, so I had to pick up when I could. So but the notification paper, I don't know if the children in the building, did they tear it off from the post box, because I think the postman was supposed to put a notification paper that he was trying to deliver a letter to me, like an official letter, but it couldn't be delivered at the time, so notification for it. But I think the children in the building, they tear it off, and that's awful. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, why do they touch anything that is not theirs? I mean, I don't look at other people's post box. I don't care about what other people receive. This is very rude. If this is the case, I mean, sorry to say it, apologize from the Turkish viewers, but let me tell you, I often get tired of people, and this saying in Turkish comes to my mind: Nerede çokluk, orada bokluk. Sorry for saying this, but sometimes the people disappoint me. I mean, everywhere in the world, it's not particularly just in Turkey, but yeah. So, but I will share with you another story anyway. So, nerede çokluk, orada bokluk. So, it means in Turkish, this saying means that, where there is, crowd, like, how to say, big crowd of people, then there is, crap things happen. So anyway, and I was going to pour more coffee. Actually, it cooled down, but whatever, I don't care. So what I wanted to say, another thing about drivers. Now I will talk about drivers in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and also in Turkey. So share with you my experience about those things. So hold on. If you have a, so 1 second. So I will just, so the story about the drivers. Okay, start with Kyrgyzstan. So водители, the drivers in Kyrgyzstan, they have been polite. I mean, the Yandex taxi drivers have been polite, had been polite to us. Although the driver who took us to Usuk Lake, he was friendly to us, but he didn't take us to the nicer part of the lake. I mean, we were tourists, so we couldn't tell. But you know, the water color was not so clear, as one viewer mentioned. I wish I could have taken a better video of Sukul, but I couldn't take. Another thing that disappointed me, that in Kyrgyzstan and also in Kazakhstan too, if you want to take a picture of something, like just a, you know, attraction or whatever, you know, natural or a building, like some, that you have to pay for it. And in Kyrgyzstan, when we visited Usuk Lake, there was a place that, you know, it mentioned entrance fee. I don't know how much sum to pay for it, but yeah, actually in the end we didn't go in, just anyway, so you have to pay for it. So but also same thing in Georgia, neighboring country to Turkey. You have to pay for, if you want to take picture, of an attraction, or even, for example, there's a beautiful view of mountain. For example, when we went to Kazbegi Mountains in Georgia, there was, you know, a place where there was something, you know, view, and also some, it's a frame, it was a frame and a view, very beautiful mountain view, and wanted to take picture of that. And immediately a local person, a Georgian person, said, I don't know how much Georgian, what's the currency now, I forgot, lari, lari. So how much Georgian lari you need to pay if you want to take a picture. So, you know, in Turkey, if you visit a tourist attraction, I mean, unless, you know, just the entrance fee to a particular location, you only need to pay entrance fee. But I mean, just to take a picture of something, you don't have to pay, you know. So that's anyway. So returning to the drivers in Kyrgyzstan, hello, how are you? The drivers were mostly polite, except, as I mentioned, in one instance, the driver didn't take us to a nicer part of the lake. So that was just, yeah, a little disappointing, that because the water color was not so clear. So anyway, and what else? But also in Kazakhstan, the drivers were polite. And the thing is about taxi, for example, Yandex taxi, is that they take you to the exact location where you want to go. So they don't, it's not like in Turkey, you know. I mean, in Turkey, I don't take taxi, but because it's too expensive in Turkey, unfortunately, the petrol prices are too expensive. And but the thing is that, you know, here in Turkey, you know, especially in Istanbul, the drivers don't take a person exactly to the location. In many cases, they drop a passenger off, and they may just explain, you should walk this way, maybe just few meters away from here, go straight and turn right, and that's the place where you wanted to go and buy, because they want to pick up another passenger quickly, so they want to get more money. That's the thing in Turkey, uh, that the taxi is too expensive. So in Kazakhstan the taxi is cheap, so you can take a taxi, and I mean, I don't know, for quite some kilometers you go and you barely pay 40 Turkish liras, or I don't know, 50 or something. So, much cheaper, and I'm just so envious of Kazakh people, because they have a huge country. And I mean, I barely saw little part of Kazakhstan, and missed out on Kundry Lake in Kazakhstan. Where the lake where the trees, from underwater grow out. I would have liked to see that location so much, but last year I was sick, and I couldn't visit that in Kazakhstan. So I was in Almaty last year, but I'm so sad I couldn't visit it. В прошлом году я была в Казахстане, но не могла посетить озеро Каундри. Мне очень грустно, потому что я не могла. I'm very sad that I haven't had a chance to visit, because yeah. So anyway, so the drivers were polite, but in Kazakhstan there was the issue that, because we didn't have Kaspi, like digital payment or cards to pay. I mean, a Visa card was not accepted, as payment, so only cash, nalichny. Nalichny means cash in Russian. So we always had to pay in cash, but sometimes the driver, said that, and then at first I was thinking, what is this word? Zdat? У меня нет сдачу or something. And I was thinking, oh, what the person is saying, I don't have. And then I realized, I was just thinking, what makes sense, what he was trying to say. He doesn't have change to give back. So if we have more money than the ride, the fare for the ride, how much to pay, if we have more money, then he cannot give change back. So then I realized that. But sorry if my Russian sentence is not good, I mean, because I don't have a chance to practice. So anyway, and yeah, that was an issue in Kazakhstan, that with cash payment it was not easy, because most of the drivers didn't have cash money with them. Very few drivers could give us change back if we had more money. And also I had to several times, like for example 10,000 tenge to change into smaller parts. It was really difficult, because some places just didn't want to help, didn't want to do. So even at the supermarket, the lady didn't want to change the money or something. I tried also at Costa Cafe to change the money, and once, actually, after they had seen us several times at the cafe, then they changed the money. So, but otherwise it's quite difficult to change the money. And there was one case when I went to KFC. I don't buy anything at KFC, but I just went to change money, for the taxi driver, because couldn't pay the exact amount. We had more money than the driver wanted, and he couldn't give money back. But the KFC, the person at the KFC, refused to help, and no change, and like pointed like I should, order something. But I didn't want to order anything, because it was not for that purpose. It was just for the taxi driver, so it was inconvenient. And he went to ask, look at towards the supermarket, maybe to change the money. And who changed the money? Can you believe it? A beggar lady who was near the supermarket, who changed maybe 5,000 tenge into smaller parts. So it was just interesting, So anyway, yeah, that's it for my, about my sharing about the trip. And of course, the 5 hour flight from Istanbul was very exhausting. And on on the same day when I returned, it was just my head was spinning around, and yeah, I'm still very tired. But this morning I went to the post office, and yeah, stuff like that. So anyway, I wish I could study Russian in a country where the language is spoken, because but then you ask, well, but there's another thing. Mandarin Chinese is also a very important language. But I mean, I don't know if I would ever have a chance to visit China, like very far away, and yeah, and a person needs a visa, so it's not easy to visit anyway. But as for Russian, I would like to study the language, but it's really difficult on my own. So as you could hear, in this video, I was just saying few phrases, but for example, nalichny means cash in Russian, but it's still very difficult, for me. So it was not easy for me to translate into Turkish, for him, because yeah, he couldn't say a word of Russian. And so I was just saying to the people, "Здравствуйте, можно сказать, can you tell something something?" Or sometimes the direction, for example, I mean, I forgot, направо means on the right, and налево means on the left, прямо means straight, идите means go. But there are some things I don't understand in Russian about direction. So, it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me to, try to speak, few words of Russian. It wasn't easy. But anyway, unfortunately, the trip has been completed and I'm back to Istanbul, which makes me feel sad because there is much less space here. And yeah. It's a stressful city. I mean, there are many people, and well, there's another thing that's worrying me a lot, because the water level at the dam in Istanbul, it's so low. So for the 16, like at least 16 million people, imagine 16 million people are facing drought. So because it hasn't been raining for many months, so there is a danger of drought in Istanbul, and that sucks. And besides that, there's danger of earthquake. So anytime can be a very big earthquake, because in 1999 there was a very big earthquake in Istanbul. I wasn't here that time. uh, I don't remember much, but on the news, I saw it on TV, maybe, bad view of earthquake in Istanbul. But I was, younger then, so I don't remember so well. But that was many years ago when it was above 7 magnitude earthquake. So it's, a varying situation. So I don't exactly know what to do, and I don't feel encouraged because it seems like chaos. And since COVID, I don't feel the same again. People have changed, people become more withdrawn. They don't want to talk to others, they don't want to reach out, they don't want to share anything. It's just so depressing and awful. And I'm very sad that no matter what I do, there's just nobody, like a good friend, just a person to talk to or, listen to. But I don't have, and so, friendship is gone. In the world, there is no friendship. There's just, interest, so it's a horrible, horrible thing. But sadly, that's the case, and it's very disappointing. Anyway, so this is all I wanted to share with you, and please check out my videos if you like. Если вы хотите можно смотреть мои видео и могу писать комментарии. Спасибо большое за внимание. Thank you for your attention. So this was just what I thought to share with you, and I wish it was interesting for you, because I have shared with you a few things, and I don't know, I hopefully don't receive hate for this video, because some people are hateful, unfortunately. But I was just sharing. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to my channel. I don't know if you have come across this video randomly, or you are a subscriber on my channel. So anyway, people are very strange. They don't really care. It's like people jump from one thing to another. It's like they don't have attention span for anything. Like, people's attention span is very, very brief. And you no longer can have connection with people anymore, because they don't want to care, they don't want to listen. So it's very boring. There's no talk, there's no deep talk with anyone. Deep talk about important matters, history, language, or something. But people are not interested in those things anymore, and it's just very disappointing. It's so boring. Since COVID, people have just changed worse and worse, and there is more danger in the world, like drought, earthquakes, and so these are the last days, and it's very depressing. It's getting worse and depressing. Anyway, whatever. If you don't like this video, I can't, make you like it. I can't do anything that would, change your opinion. But I have tried my best to share with you some things, and you can see the videos on my channel, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, if you like. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, I just feel like pointless to talk, because people don't appreciate it. That's another thing I wanted to say, is that people don't appreciate anything anymore. Nobody cares about anybody else, and it's just so horrible. And I don't know, it's just going to get worse. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.